Hey everybody, Conant SHow. We're back. This is Conant SHow 67. Wow, getting a lot of shows out there. I'm going to have to start doing different ways of identifying that. All right, so I have a little bit of good news tonight, and it's relative to the laws that were being threatened to be passed in Albany in our state senate today, and I should go to the notice I got from Steve Romine earlier today to call our senators, which I did do. I called 3 of them, and Steve's request was to call Senator Amador first before anybody else. He won't give up his position yet, so we need to let him know you voice opposition to the addition of a new Article 13E, quote, small wireless facilities deployment, end quote, to the general municipal law. Also, you may say, this was his request, by the way. You may say, I can hardly hear in here. That you oppose, or I opposed, which I did, any attempt to weaken home rule. Here's the link, and it gives the link, and calls should be made before 1 p.m., and that was today. So, just checking my emails, I see breaking news, big victory. And let's see what Steve has to say. So, Steve Romine reports here, Senate rejects forced deployment of 5G. That's huge, everybody. Hi, all. This is Steve. Thanks to everybody's effort, both the House and Senate eliminated language in their budget bills that would have subverted home rule by forcing 5G on our communities. Let's see what the governor does. And he gives his website here. Stop Smart Meters, WoodstockNewYork.com. Okay, that's what that is. Stop Smart Meters, WoodstockNewYork.com. And New York is just NY, so that's all one word, .com. Stop Smart Meters, Woodstock, New York, or WoodstockNY.com. So that's a good resource there for everybody to get out there and get yourself familiar with what 5G is, what it means. And I've done a lot of shows on it lately, and hopefully we'll keep doing more and better shows with more information on this really very important issue. And how that works is that I've like many of you out there have been noticing many cell phone towers going up, and it seems like they just sprout up overnight out on Route 28 near Onteora, and on the way to between Onteora and the Ashokan Reservoir area there. I noticed another cell tower go up, and I think there's a cell tower that went up behind the Centerville Fire Department, which seems to be a pattern here of fire departments being the preferred location for a lot of these cell towers because there seems to be very little objection to them there. And that's what happened in a pretty important situation in Connecticut. My friend Dina Crisell fought the cell providers, whoever builds these cell towers. I'm not sure how that actually works, because the process of environmental impact statements and and all of the things, like as a builder, you're required to do before you build anything. There's a site plan has to happen. There has to be all kinds of protocols to ensure that the rules are followed. And it seems pretty interesting to me that cell phone towers go up, and they're big, monstrous things, many of them, and they don't seem to have any public interface or opportunity for the public to really voice their approval or disapproval of the construction of yet another cell tower. So, a lot of questions here about what that means and why it goes the way it's been going. And I kind of wish that we had maybe you could pull up on the computer while I'm doing this some just images, any images of cell phone towers, and we can throw some images so they're not just looking at me. So everybody, I'd like to thank Paula Gloria Barton for teching for me tonight, and always does such a lovely job making a seamless show, and that's really you can't put a price on that. So thank you very much, Paula, for that.
You're welcome.
And I have these days where I feel, a lot of, like the famous fellow Sisyphus, right? From Greek legends. Sisyphus had this, task of rolling rocks up this mountainside, and they'd get almost to the top and roll back down, and he'd have to get all the way down to the bottom of the mountain and roll the rocks back up again. And this is sort of like his task for eternity. And in all the activism, that I've been involved with in my 58 years, it can really feel that way. It can really feel that the little guy doesn't really get heard. The little guy, the working man or woman, doesn't have the voice and the vote that counts. And I really got alarmed when Steve Romine was informing me that this Article 13E had these really tyrannical and draconian effects on our due process of home rule in our communities. Now, I don't know enough about home rule to speak with any authority about what home rule means, but I assume that it means kind of what it says on the tin. This is our community. We all have our homes here, and there should be some representative mechanism, republic, as a republic and a representative government, and not a democracy, which is mob rule, to make sure everybody's viewpoint is recognized and taken into account when a decision is made. And that decision could be made by, say, the town council or the town supervisor or any number of players that affect the day-to-day life of our neighbors and ourselves. So to see Senate decisions knocking down a really toxic law or bill that would have become law is gratifying in a small way. As big a victory as it is, and as much as I'd like to feel good about it, the threat has not gone away. And that threat is the saturation of our bodies. And I love this idea of microwave trespass on our biological systems. Paula, who came up with that?
Microwave trespass?
Yeah, it wasn't our friend Susan Clark. I think it was another very.
I know trespass is about corporations overreaching their mandates, and then they trespass on
Or
rights.
police or courts trespass.
So trespass goes back to the Ten Commandments too, doesn't it?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Thou shalt not covet, thou shalt not steal, or
Yeah.
Right.
that kind of thing. So trespass is a well, all right. I guess the way I could look at it this way is, as somebody who likes to fish and hike, you'll see posted "no trespassing," so they don't want you to go, passing through their property, their land, and when I first heard the term microwave trespass on biological systems, meaning our human bodies or animals, dogs, cats. This microwave energy is invisible, it's insidious, you can't see it, and it doesn't have to be at a very, very powerful energy output to be damaging to biological systems. It is the fact of the radiation itself, and these microwaves are more and more damaging the finer the microwave, the faster the frequency of the pulse, or it's like a sine wave, all right, and the distance between the peaks of the sine wave give you the relative to the to the idea of what kind of frequency it would be. So these very, very fast microwaves, the tighter those peaks and valleys are, the more damaging they are to biological systems. And for example, in this class of energy, we are exposed to a very specific kind of thing called X-rays at the dentist. And when they take a picture of your jaw, everybody scurries out of the room. Did you ever notice that? And they put lead on your body in an apron, an apron that weighs about 80 pounds. They put this lead apron on you, and they take a X-ray photograph. And the reason that you can see the bone and tissue, the hard tissues like bone and tooth, is because that's what these energy waves, the X-rays, reflect against. The soft tissues you don't see, like a normal photograph. That's why they, like X-ray vision. They see right through the flesh to the bone, and that's a specific kind of energy that is also in the family of radiation, microwave radiation. So are natural sources like gamma rays, and other kinds of cosmic rays that come in from the stars and space. All right, and I can, look at that. I can just go right to it. Let's take a look at something here, folks. And I don't know. There we go. Up there. All right. There. Okay, so this is an interesting antenna array. That looks real friendly, doesn't it? That looks like something out of my nightmares. Do you have any information on what that is?
It's enough to fry your butt.
My goodness gracious! I've never. Look at this antenna array.
I was looking up, it's a blog.
Cell towers. Okay.
You can see they're trying to get good PR, from eyesore. Like, this is the one I'm interested in. This is Sutra Tower in San Francisco. This thing is huge. It's
This is
monster.
the Sutra Tower in. Sutro Tower is San Francisco, and this thing is above the clouds. I mean, how big is this thing? My gosh! And what does it do? Does this have audio?
Let's see. The audio to here.
Let's see what it says. Sorry about that.
I don't know why we're
Um,
We should have
I'm not sure. Is it muted?
Is it muted here?
All right. I guess we don't have audio for that right at the moment, and we don't know why. So.
But anyway, I thought this was a nice big monster.
Yeah, these kinds of towers. Let's see if they have any 5G towers. And I'll go back to me while you're looking around. All right, so that is a telecommunications array, and I remember growing up in Rockland County and frequently having to go into New York City with my mom and dad. Either, getting my brother Joe from NYU for, weekends or whatever it was that the reason was. But we had to go down the Palisades Parkway. And it's still there. Actually, the array is still there. And it looks similar to what we were just looking at, but more compact. And it's really a scary thing. And it is painted red and white. And I always remember going past it, and my dad would remark, well, that's for telecommunications and satellite communications and, military and stuff, and as well as other kinds of, civilian uses. And it was so imposing. It sort of loomed, through the tree line over the highway, just south, I think, of Alpine, New Jersey. And I always remember being terrified of it. I mean, it really was a scary looking thing. And I kind of laugh a little bit, but at the same time, I'm thinking to myself, well, if it looks scary, it probably is. If I'm having such a visceral reaction to these cell phone towers, which I do, I mean, they really do look frightening to me. They don't look like they have a very benign, peaceful use to the world. And I think part of what's going on, and I was, as I was at work today, I was meditating on this very thought about how we're kept so engaged with all this great technology. Let's take a look. Let's see what Paula found. There you go. We know what those are, right? We see these around. Yeah, but the really cute thing is that around here in the Catskills, they've been putting fake Christmas tree branches all over them, and they look like big fake Christmas trees from the 1960s. Frankenpines. Yeah, thanks, Joe. And so, I've seen cell towers similar to this one, more like that one. That's a very good image there as well. And they have all these sort of paddles, see all those paddles? Those are the emitters, those paddle looking things. To the left. And yeah, those things. They look like paddles. Yeah. All right. What you're going to see, and I think I've been seeing some around here in our surrounds of Woodstock and Saugerties, little boxes on phone poles that I don't remember being there even 2 weeks ago, that look just like that. I don't know that they're emitters, but they could be emitters. But this is it. Strange small cell towers are popping up. 5G and the future of harmful frequencies or wavelengths.
A lot of these links are broken.
Are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
I wanted to show you how many pictures I could have chosen, but it wasn't letting me in.
Try.
This one, that looked like a particularly interesting one, but it says it cannot display it.
Interesting.
I was at Joe Friendly's in New York, and I couldn't believe how many links are broken.
Click on images.
Right here?
Nope. Above that. Right in that. Yeah. Click on images. There you go. So we've got, there's the Frankenpines.
Where?
That one, the second one over.
Oh, here.
Look at that. See if it'll open that one up. So, yeah, there they are. This is the Frankenpines. And so this is to the lengths that the corporations are going to buffalo us. Now, if we go back, let's go back one. And you're going to love this, folks, because and do that first one there.
This one here?
Yeah, let's see what that one is. And I was thinking about the. Oh, that's a good one. That's a nice, real robust. Look at that cell tower. Now that is just that's the kind that's up there in Canada near my daughter. You know, I mean, this thing is.
That's enough to fry your eggs.
You know, that thing's within 300 yards of my daughter's apartment, or at least it was. And I got to tell you, that thing, you know, was just, it hummed. I, you know, it was close enough to the road that I could actually walk around the darn thing, and I could feel the energy from it, and it kind of had a hum to it. Anyway,
Look, it says the next generation of 5G wireless service often requires smaller cell antennas than the ones shown in this March 13th photo
yeah,
of a cell tower.
okay, but
So I think the 5Gs are more directional.
well, no, they're higher frequency and they don't go as far.
Yeah.
Now, can you find images for concentration camp?
Okay.
Yeah. All right. While you're doing that, I'll go back to me. Hi, everybody. I'm back. So, I want Paula to pull up images of even FEMA camps or concentration camps, any kind of.
FEMA camps.
Yeah, FEMA camps. That's more. I like the old German style, you know, with the parapets on top of the towers and the fences and all that. I want to do a little demonstration here for everybody about that thought. So let's talk about concentration camps. You know, this is such a incredibly visceral topic for so many people, because I know Woodstock does have a vibrant Jewish community here, and I've met some really, you know, really wonderful elders who were survivors of that situation in Germany in the 1930s and 40s, and so they have a good reason to be suspicious of certain kinds of things. What do we got here? All right. This is the free speech zone. That's good. That's. I remember the first time I heard of a free speech zone was down on the docks near that, because they didn't want anybody protesting in Central Park when there were some political events going on. So they said you can have your free speech zone out on a pier in the Hudson River with just that kind of fencing and the free. You know, like who's going to go in there? Okay, can you pull up any concentration camp images?
I'll show you where.
There you go.
Can you see anything that strikes your fancy there?
Not really. Try World War II. Try that. That's always that always has some really gritty kind of pictures. And I want you all to bear with me a moment, because what I want you to understand is that the idea of fences and concentration camps, though there are a lot of people reporting, a lot of citizen reporters on YouTube about the FEMA camps, and I guess they're not even really hidden that well, and that the connection between FEMA camps and Walmarts and other big box stores being new facilities for processing humans during the event of a disaster. Let's see what we got. Yeah, there we go. That's exactly what I was thinking. All right, here is a classic concentration camp image of remembering the Holocaust. Very good. Yeah. I mean, this is how you cage humans, and there's the tower in the background, And if we can go back to a cell phone tower, so that now that we have this nice, World War II image, go any cell tower, any of the nasty, evil-looking ones, and you go back to something like that, or okay, all right. Now this is what I want to explain to everybody. It's called a frequency fence. Your brains operate on wavelengths, brain waves, all right? In good old hippie language, vibes, whatever you want to say. The point is that we are biological energy creatures. We have nervous systems that work on bioelectrical chemical processes, and that these biochemical electrical processes operate just like any very fine energies of a computer, artificial intelligence or whatever. You're going to see very similar kinds of movement of electrons between point A and point B on a very microscopic level. And this is very delicate kind of operations that are impacted by things like X-rays, cosmic rays. That's why telecommunications satellites and telecommunications computers during solar flares that are particularly violent or aimed specifically at the Earth
was just starting in
will interrupt the proper functioning of these electronics in these devices, such as telecommunication satellites and radio stations and TV stations and so on. Well, your brain is very much like a radio or a TV station. It sends signals out as much as processing signals that are coming in, signals or sine waves or wavelengths, radio frequencies. And this lovely image here, that's your new fence, folks. This is the new fence line. This is the new concentration camp way of herding the humans into oblivion or worse. And you might think, oh, that's a real stretch, George, and not really. You have to understand certain principles that were brought to bear on the human population from the research of people like B.F. Skinner and Pavlov and all these other behavioralists. Boy, I gotta love that one, behavioralist. They make that sound so, I don't know, cozy, right? What a real cozy idea, behavioralists. But there's nothing cozy about it. These guys were implanting electrodes in monkey brains and then, flipping switches to see what muscle would twitch or what eye, would dilate or what thought could be manufactured in a human, because they did it to humans as well. And now, we are talking about transhumanism as a goal. Whether it's this guy Elon Musk, who's got the SpaceX program and he wants to upload his consciousness and his spirit energy into an artificial intelligence receptacle of some kind, which ultimately would be a roboticized human body, so that he can, exist as his consciousness for all practical purposes indefinitely. So if you're Elon Musk or Bill Gates or any number of these multi-billionaires, you can afford this idea of uploading your consciousness, your spirit, into basically a computer, an artificial device, a robot. And where does that lead us? It's as much to say that the human body, the physical human experience and the human body is obsolete. It's not needed. Well, wait a minute. I got a problem with that. I like my body, even though it's aging, and I'm enjoying the aging process. I didn't think I would, but I kind of do. I like the being able to reflect on the decades that I've lived. If the chemtrails don't wipe my memory before too long. So there's a real attack going on. There's a real attack going on upon our species. And this is a real concern for our future, that we're being systematically replaced by artificial intelligence-driven robotics. And case in point, and I gotta love NPR, because they spew out so much drivel all the time, but every once in a while they actually say something that is truly alarming, and that was two interviews in the past couple days, and one was out on the oil fields. How fabulous it is that the United States is now the world's top petroleum producer because of advances in technology. And some of those advances in technology are drilling rigs that don't require humans.
Oh, wow.
What's up?
No, I just want to go back to you because
And, okay, so,
rigs that don't depend on humans.
drilling platforms that are completely automated. They drive out to the site, they locate the site, they boot themselves in or strap themselves onto the ground, however these devices do it, and then they drill and put more pipe down, all automated. I mean, this is science fiction stuff, but this is today. This is today because, the NPR interview was interviewing this older gentleman who's been out on the oil fields repairing oil rigs out down. I guess his machine shop for repairing oil rigs is down in Amarillo, Texas, and he'd been in business for 48 years, and he can't repair the new rigs. He goes, my whole entire machine shop really should just be in a museum too. And he's finding himself fast going out of business because he's not needed. Well, that's not just him who's not needed. Then there's the roughnecks, which my brother John was a roughneck, and my brother Ray did that for a while out in Wyoming in the oil patch, they called it, in the 1980s. And these are the men who did the real work of setting up the drilling rigs, putting the drilling pipe in and securing it, and all of the processes that are involved. It's hard, gritty, hands-on work, and a lot of guys lost their lives doing it or got maimed. It's dangerous work. And part of the complaint that the oil companies had is the profits weren't high enough, so they wanted to get rid of the workers. So that's why they went to automating, the designing and building and automating and roboticizing drilling rigs. These are gigantic, monstrous things, people, that just crawl across the landscape, park themselves, and then poke holes in the earth and extract it like a syringe. This is what's going on. Doesn't need anybody, no people. It's all monitored by geeky types, in offices, hundreds and hundreds of miles away. All robotics. Okay? So all these roughnecks are now out of work. 50,000 of these guys are now out of work, with more to follow as these automated devices get employed more and more. And then, I guess it was yesterday, NPR again. I mean, I can't stand them, but I do listen to it. They do an interview with a trucker. And this corporation called Amazon is going to be the first to have human truckers as backup pilots in their completely automated trucking systems. So we're going to have big rigs on the highway, and there ain't going to be anybody driving them. They're going to be self-driving 40-foot rigs. I'm not real comfortable with the idea of completely automated, 80,000-pound tractor trailers barreling down the highway with a computer driving it. I have a problem with that. I don't know about you people. I would rather take my risks with the human element, where you can make human decisions in real time, than an artificial intelligence-driven tractor trailer rig that will make its decision based on its design, not based on, responsibility of other human beings on the highway. This is frightening stuff, and y'all better start waking up that this is the future that we are fast moving into. The 5G is just one element of corralling, fencing us in. It's the new concentration camp. It's a frequency fence.
I got a question.
Sure. Joe Barton, folks. He's gonna give me a question here.
Okay, I got a question. We've got a tractor trailer being driven by computer, and it plows into a bunch of cars and kills a whole bunch of people. Who do we hold responsible? That's my question. Who do we hold responsible?
Wow. Well, Amazon Corporation. I would imagine if it's one of their trucks.
Well, one of the things, never has a corporation gone to jail. Look at
You can't jail a corporation. It's a dead entity.
Right.
You can only jail the human operatives.
Look when that oil rig malfunctioned and all those people got killed on the oil rig.
Which one?
The one out.
There's been a number of those.
Right.
Well, Joe, I'm not sure if that mic works.
But none of the CEOs or none of the people who ran the company went to jail. This was death. A lot of people died through neglect. Am I coming up?
No, not very well.
Yeah, I can hear him.
You can hear him?
Yeah. Keep talking, Joe.
Anyway, none of the people went to jail for neglect when the platform was being run in a dangerous situation, and the company was held responsible for the deaths of these people. Nobody went to jail for it. That's my problem with all this new technology. Now we have corporations can be derelict and cause death, and no one be held responsible for it. And that's the same thing with the 5G and all this microwave. People come down with cancer. People come down with all kinds of diseases. All kinds of harm is being done. And none of the CEOs or anyone in the company can be held responsible. Under the law, as far as I know the law, when someone does harm, the person who did the harm can be held responsible. We now have corporations that can do harm and be immune. How can that be? How can the American people accept that corporations can kill you, corporations can harm you, can cause cancer to you? Some of these things that they're putting on people's house, these what do you call them again?
Emitters?
No, that they put on everybody's house now that everybody's trying to get off their house.
Oh, smart meters.
The smart meters, right. Now, smart meters have burnt down people's houses. And the companies are not held liable for it. The insurance companies won't pay for it. So we're in a world now where corporations have more rights than people. Corporations are immune from murder. That's all I want to say. Go back to George.
So, yeah, down to one camera again, folks. Thank you, Paula, for doing that.
But comment on that, because that's really an important
No,
point.
it is it's not just an important point, Joe. This is a reality. This is where we really are in big trouble. Human beings are being replaced because we are not cost-efficient slaves. So for whatever reason, and I really don't understand what the reasoning is, but think about this. We as, human human beings are being sold all of this stuff, whether it's iPhones and iPads and all of this media-driven stuff and computer-driven stuff that really absorbs us, and a lot of it's great fun. I'm not going to say that I don't use it, because I do. It's all great fun, but when you have 50,000 roughnecks put out of work by automated drilling rigs that are artificial intelligence driven, or I can't even begin to wrap my head around how many do we realize how important truckers are when the rails were abandoned largely. I mean, the rails are still used for moving of a lot of stuff. But it was by design by the oil companies to move away from the railroads and using the internal combustion engine in terms of the big tractor trailers, and then that gave rise, to the highway system. So there's all this pavement out there, but in all of that servicing, as these trucks get automated, and then now there's no truckers. They step it in first with human backup pilots, just in case the system doesn't work, they can take over from the computer, maybe. And then but eventually they don't want to pay that guy, so they'll get rid of him too. And then you'll have no truckers, so all these guys with their rigs, they'll be out of work. And then more and more, so much of our lives are going to be automated in that way. If that's the case, how are we going to find employment? What are we going to do if everything that we do, that we make money doing, gets automated with artificial intelligence driven equipment? Robotics. How are we going to pay for our phone? How are we going to pay for our cell phone? How are we going to pay for our computers, or whatever the device of the future is that entertains us and keeps us busy all day?
Well, they got depopulation plans for us.
And that's the point I'm getting to, is depopulation seems to be part of this agenda, whether it's geoengineering with the chemtrails in the sky, or any number of attacks upon our health with other tools. Go ahead, Paula.
We have to pierce the corporate veil. If you go back to that Sutro Tower picture, I just want to say, when I was in California, I was asking about this because this is right opposite on the Berkeley Hills where I grew up. And I asked, why is a tower like this so huge? What's it all about? They were actually saying it was to broadcast television signals. But that doesn't make sense, because everybody was getting their TV from cable.
Uh-huh.
So how do they justify this? Again, you have to pierce the corporate veil, because corporations are dead legal fictions, but they are controlled by boards of living people, and these boards of living people can do harm, and if they are doing harm, they should cease and desist. So you have to find out who are on these boards, because what Joe was saying, how do you hold something responsible? Now we need to know who is the owner of an IP address. And so far, we have a discriminatory situation where some people can know and some people can't know. Just like you found in your court case, you were disallowed from putting a complaint in, and somebody was allowed.
That's still the MO. I mean, that's still what's going on, where, even though Laura's been exonerated from any charges, the damage that's being done, continuing to be done to her, and is not. There is no redress of grievance here, and that's part of the fence, as you put up here. That's the fence. That's one of the invisible fences. Anybody who has a pet with an invisible fence.
Yeah.
That's what these cell towers are really amounting to, because at a certain point, a frequency, if you will, or a wavelength, if you will, can be broadcast that will interrupt your psyche to such an extreme that you could be incapacitated. It's called weaponized frequencies, weaponized wavelengths, weaponized microwave weapons. See if you could pull up CERN, images from CERN.
Okay, put it on you while I do
Okay, all right. So we're going to do a little search there. Now, the real impetus of this show tonight is yeah, we've had a small victory. I'm not going to say you know Steve feels it's a very big victory, but I feel it's a small victory because this is their. You have to remember that the opposition to humanity and goodness are incrementalists. They do it a little bit at a time. They erode your freedom a little bit at a time. They the images that look really technical. The sure. Let's take a look at some of these. And you know we need to really we need to start thinking about who is accountable and what decisions are being made and how those decisions are affecting us. And you're going to find out that, you know, when you don't have a voice, when you don't get recognized by the system, then you're fenced out. You don't have that authority to, you know, achieve redress of grievance. And that's where the erosion, these incrementalists, you know, though we had a victory today, tomorrow is just going to be another battle. That's so the rock got put back down to the bottom of the hill, and it's going to get pushed back up again. All right, so let's take a look here. And these are images of the Super Hadron Collider called CERN out there in Geneva, Switzerland. And I mean, this is stunning to me. I don't, you know, they look kind of, it's very pretty. I like the way all the Christmassy colors. But this machine, the size and scale of this machine is mind-boggling. We are talking about a device that's 20 miles in diameter. Okay? And I can't even begin to describe what it is or what it does. You know, they're talking about smashing atoms and, you know, to find the God particle. I mean, they're really moving in a direction that is just absolutely mind-boggling, scary. I mean, look at this. This is a huge. Yeah, it's tough to get it up. Are you concerned? The CERN Hadron Collider. Yeah, there you go.
Some people think it's just a big waste of money.
Well, there. Yeah, perhaps. I see. Look at the scale of that. If anybody knows what kind of a lift that is, I think you can. Is there a man on it? But a man stands on that. There he is. There's the man. All right, and this is some critical part of their Super Hadron Collider. I mean, this installation, this facility is mind-boggling. A, expensive, and B, in size and scale. And again, what kind of future are we headed towards that we need to be? Well, we don't need to. We're doing it. Building without understanding the consequences of a device like this. I don't know. But what I will wager a bet that what's really going on here is an enforcement of Agenda 21 policies and programs, because it's really it's an operative program now, which is to really absolutely in every way control the human population and cull the herd, as they say. All right, depopulation. There's too many humans. They're using up too many resources, and but somebody wants all those resources. They want to get rid of us, but they still want, their automated drilling platforms. They're still going to do their mining, whoever they are. So the question, has to be asked. Who are they? Who is responsible for this kind of trespass on our biological systems? And these kind of images, I'm sorry, folks, but they are scary, and we should be scared of them. And to be, it's almost as though they're playing two sides of a fence here. On one side, the towers are scary, and they're putting them up, and kind of makes you feel the awesome power of the authorities that just go and put these things up without environmental reviews or any other protocols. And then they go and they make Frankentrees where they just sort of blend in with the environment, so you don't notice them. So they're getting us both ways,
Let me look for Frankentree.
Yeah, Frankenpines, and you gotta almost hope that there is a God, that there is cosmic justice that's going to have to come down and descend on earth and correct the situation, because I'm having a hard time, folks, thinking that we can do it with our own flesh and blood and bone and sweat and good intention and activism. I don't know that it's just mind-boggling to me that we have such an accelerated technological thrust, as Alvin Toffler calls it. We are moving so fast now with the idea that our souls, our human consciousness, this is huge, people, are being mapped and uploaded just like any other, program into an app. We're all going to it's going to become Planet of the Apps. That's what we are, folks. We're going to be Planet of the Apps. First they have you using the apps, and then you become one. That's where we're going. And, all right, let's take a look. What do we got here? Yeah, I've seen both versions. Right down there on Palisades Parkway, the one on the left. I've seen that also. They're on Route 28. I mean, it's astonishing the lengths to which these guys go. I bet you all the branches do something too. I think they probably. I wouldn't be surprised if all of those branches are antennas as well. I mean, it's just one big, green, furry, friendly-looking, death tower. I'm going to tell you guys a story. See if you can pull up a battleship with a radar. Okay. Aircraft carrier radar. Sure. All right, so think about this. I had a friend who I won't name to protect his identity and safety, who was in the Navy. And he had an important job. He was the head of the crew that did underwater welding, so that in the event of a torpedo strike or something like that, and this is a long time ago, folks. This is the 1980s, and anything if it shows a radar array, any one of them is good. We're just a ship. Anyway.
Navy ship radar.
Yeah, sure. They won't just give you an image, huh? All right. So he was telling me that, as that radar sweeps, the emitter, the antenna, sweeps around, sometimes they'd see a seagull get in front of it. And it would... That's
Get a better one?
that's new. That's kind of new. I'm thinking
World War II?
any battleship. You can just show a ship. All right.
What, here?
Sure, that's a good one.
Oops,
Oh,
there's a lot of...
all right. Let's see if you can pull something up. We only got a couple minutes left. But the poor little bird, these seagulls, man, they would explode in flames and hit the deck, fropping around in pieces, and burned horribly, like they were hit with a microwave oven, which is in fact what happened. In fact, the first microwave was called the radar range by Amana. And this is one of the byproducts of military development. The radar got turned into the microwave oven. And so, all of us that have microwave ovens are looking at something that, can't be good for you. Can't be good for you. All right, let's take one look here. Yeah, there you go. So this it was a two-way radio. It's a radar array, and it sends out a very, very powerful signal or radio microwave emission broadcast, and then it reflects off something, and then it goes back to the antenna, and it gets a fix or a location on an object, a target. And sometimes birds will get in front of them and explode into flames, and hit the deck as a fropping burned mess. And that's kind of a horrible image to leave you all with tonight. But anyway, I just want to thank Paula and Joe for coming in the studio tonight, and for Paula helping me tech and get some of these images up, because it's really hard to do, folks, to do this by yourself. And I want you all to really be grateful to Steve Romine and all the hard work he's doing to get this smart meter issue and cell towers and 5G issue on the table and talked about. He's got me talking about it. And so today's date is
The
14th March, 2018, Woodstock TV, public access, free speech. Be good, everybody, and thank you so much for watching.
Joe's coming up.
And Joe Barton's coming up.
Live.
Going live. All right. Thank y'all.
You can fade to black.
Fade to black.
Actually, I'm not going